That's right, Pat. Turning overseas, Hungary's prime minister says Christianity is Europe's last hope. Viktor Orban addressed Europe's migration in his State of the Nation speech Sunday. He warned politicians in Brussels, Berlin, and Paris who favor migration have, quote, opened the way to the decline of Christian culture and the advance of Islam. He also spoke of a Western Europe overtaken by Muslims, adding his government will oppose migration efforts by the United Nations and the European Union. Well, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is making clear Israel will take direct action against Iran if necessary. That warning came as Netanyahu and Iran's foreign minister faced off at a global security summit in Munich, Germany. Chris Mitchell brings us that story.
At the conference, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held up a piece of an Iranian drone shot down over Israel just last week.
Iran also denies that it committed an act of aggression against Israel last week, that it sent a drone into our airspace to threaten our people. Well, here's a piece of that Iranian drone, or what's left of it after we shot it down. I brought it here so you can see it for yourself. Mr. Zarif, do you recognize this? You should. It's yours. You can take back with you a message to the tyrants of Tehran. Do not test Israel's resolve.
Zarif dismissed Netanyahu's claim.
You were the audience for a cartoonish circus, which does not even deserve a dignity of a response.
Zarif denied Iran wants to dominate the Middle East.
We believe in and have proposed creating what we call a strong region, rather than a strong man in the region. We do not want to be the hegemon in the region, as we believe the era of hegemony is long past.
But Netanyahu reiterated Iran's goal to dominate the region.
And nowhere are Iran's belligerent ambitions clearer than in Syria. There, Iran hopes to complete a contiguous empire, linking Tehran to Tartus, the Caspian to the Mediterranean. For some time, I've been warning about this development. I've made clear in word and deed that Israel has red lines it will enforce. Israel will continue to prevent Iran from establishing a permanent military presence in Syria. Israel will continue to act to prevent Iran from establishing another terror base from which to threaten Israel.
Netanyahu reminded the leaders from around the world the lesson of history when Britain's Neville Chamberlain signed the Munich Agreement, appeasing Adolf Hitler that led to World War II.
And 80 years ago, another event took place here with far-ranging consequences. A disastrous agreement was signed here that set the world on a course towards history's most horrific war. 2 decades after a war that claimed 16 million lives, the leaders who met in Munich chose to appease Hitler's regime rather than confront it.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Thanks, Chris. Pat, Israel continuing to sound the alarm there.
Well, they should. You look at Lebanon, you look at Syria, you look at Hezbollah, you look at the various agencies that are Iran sponsors, and there is no question that they are the leading exporter of terrorism in the world. There's no question about it. There are more acts of Iranian aggression against the United States, against Israel, against the free world than any other country in the world. And they now are going for nuclear weapons. They have launch vehicles that can deliver nuclear weapons, or at least they're trying to get them. And we cannot stand idly by. This ill-fated nuclear accord that Obama agreed to was just a farce. And it just gave the Iranians all kinds of leeway on the way to a guaranteed nuclear weapon. And a nuclear-armed Iran is just not something that we can tolerate. And Netanyahu, I'm just so shocked that the police in his own country aren't aware of the dangers that Israel and the rest of the world faces from the revolutionary nations that are, threatening our civilization. This man needs to be supported by his people. He needs to stand strong. And if there's some kind of little financial thing along the way where he took some suits or something, you know, whatever they claim he's gotten, it pales into insignificance in relation to the threat that Israel faces. So I hope they'll leave him alone, Wendy.
I do too. I do too. He is a great leader.